to the beginning of my journey, I wanted to stay a little more neutral in my strong opinions. I wanted to not have very strong opinions because I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. But I wish if I had at that moment been so free like I am now with my opinions, I would have definitely been more engaging. So that is one of the lessons that I've carried on through and think, hey, listen, if you are sitting here in front of people and people are watching you, say what you think. Who cares if someone doesn't like it? Just say what you think. That's why people are watching.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Reactorverse Podcast. I'm joined today by another newcomer to the space, but she's really hit the ground running in the past couple years. It is from her channel, Cristy Reacts. Cristy, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. And like I said a minute ago before recording, I'm a little nervous. So be nice, be kind.
We're definitely gonna be nice here. That's the job. Like I said, you're relatively new to the space.
Yes.
You started only just a couple years ago. Coming up, I think next month will be the 2-year anniversary of the channel.
Yes.
You've really put yourself out there with the channel. That's something that I've noticed right away is how you threw yourself into it. You really were covering a lot of ground. Really started sharing your thoughts and your process through your posts and stuff like that. So I was really interested in having you on today, just sort of go over a lot of that. I will give a shout out to your brother. He's the one that sort of recommended you to me.
He basically owns this. I am the face of it, and he is everything else. He's ran everything from the beginning. It was his idea. This is a collaborative project between him and I, but I'll say that he does the heavy lifting.
Yeah. We've had a few on those on here. People, the sort of face manager dynamic, people sharing a channel like that. So yeah, we'll definitely get into all of that for sure. But to start from the very beginning, as I usually like to do with the channel, even before the channel itself, I know that you and your brother are both from Colombia. That's your background there. What was your sort of specific relationship or background with film and TV growing up? I guess specifically with American media.
Yeah, great question. So we grew up, both of us went to English speaking schools. Like I went to a Catholic American school in Colombia and Jorge went to a British school in Colombia. So we were exposed definitely to more media than people that didn't go to English speaking school. So I grew up watching Seinfeld and Friends and MTV, which really laid the ground for what I envisioned what American culture was. And most of it was influenced by Seinfeld, for example, or Friends.
Yeah, it's really interesting that it would influence, your idea of the culture, but also just your sort of culturally, awareness of comedy. I think that
exactly.
being two big sitcoms, I think that would have a big influence on just your natural sort of dynamic of like English and like how you carry yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like, I don't have a lot of references of TV or movies because I didn't watch a lot of it, but I know a lot of words and jokes that I learned watching comedies growing up.
Right, exactly. Were there any, because I know you, the sort of crux of the channel is that you didn't watch a lot of films growing up.
Right.
Were there any film or shows beyond those that you kind of like latched onto, even if they were like just one at a time that you would repeat? I know I spoke to Cassie from Popcorn in Bed. She mentioned that she would watch only Disney films or only rom-coms. That sort of set it up for the channel.
I mean, not really. I because I wasn't attached to television, and which is weird because my older brother Jorge, he's in the film industry, went to school for film, and loved films. And actually, my whole family they go to the theaters. My dad almost daily, and my sister weekly. So even though I grew up in a family of films, I was more focused on socializing, I like to go out a lot. I'd go to the mall, but not to the movies. I'd hang out with a lot with friends. So I was not exposed to a lot of films, but the only thing I'll tell you, I watched a lot, and bed before going to sleep was like those late night shows that they don't, show during the day or are for children.
Right.
So, for example, Nip Talk. Have you ever watched Nip Talk?
Yes. Yeah.
Nip Talk, which is a little inappropriate for an 11-year-old to be watching, but
Right.
maybe 12 or 13. But I watched that stuff. So the L Word too. All those things that they play at night were the shows that I watched most.
Yeah, yeah. I remember those comfort shows to watch at night, and
Mhm.
it sort of like helps
Mhm.
you dive into it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
mentioned your brother Jorge, being very film savvy and being in the film
Yeah.
industry. Growing up, was that something you were able to connect with him at all on any way, or was it something you felt like you were in totally different worlds, growing up because of that?
So well, a little bit of both. So we were in completely different worlds in everything. We weren't even friends growing up. We barely hung out growing up because he was so in this world and movie and music world, and I was not about it.
Mhm.
But a lot of the foundation of the music that I listen to today was because he showed it to me growing up. Bands that I would never discover on my own. Um, and so in films as well. So he showed
Right.
me, for example, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And my little like 14-year-old brain or 15-year-old brain was like, what is this? And then he'd walk me through it, and learning through him was really cool. And I remembered him always saying, like, oh, watch this part, watch. And he'd look at me while I was watching the film that he showed me.
Mhm.
And I never really understood reactions or reactor world until I remembered that he'd always just want to look at me while I was looking at what he was showing me.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
that's really what the sort of core of the reaction video is.
Mhm.
It's like being able to live that film again through the eyes of another person.
That's
And it's
right.
like I always love doing that with like my friends and my family, showing them films I really love and seeing their reaction to it.
Mhm.
And as you mentioned, he's the one that sort of spearheaded the channel
Mhm.
to help set this up. Were you familiar with the reaction format or genre before that, or something you had to get accustomed to?
I had no idea what reactions were. He came to me and he said, hey, I have an idea over WhatsApp. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, oh, let's start a YouTube channel. And I've always wanted to do YouTube. When YouTube first came out and I was into it, I watched a lot of vlogs, and that's another exposure to American culture. And it's the first time I ever heard about people having to do their own taxes. And
Right.
so even though I knew YouTube, I wasn't at all familiar with reactions. And he told me, let's do a reaction channel. I'm like, what is that? And he sent me homework. He's like, watch this, watch this. This is what we want. This is what
Mhm.
I want to establish together.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, without even doing the homework. I'm like, let's do it. Whatever it is, I'm down. It's also so nice to have a project with someone you love and who you didn't really have a lot in common before. And now we have this big thing that we both work towards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very special, to have that,
Hmm.
relationship, built upon like a shared interest, a shared project. Cause like I know, how it can be to like, your siblings are always obviously a part of your life, but like it's a thing that once you have a sort of core thing to connect on, you can like, go long, stints without, speaking to them or,
Yeah.
interacting for a long time. So I know it's very special.
Yeah. Some people play soccer with their siblings. Other people, do things with their siblings. And I just didn't. I'm one of five. Like we're five siblings. And I think we all live in our own world, even though we're a tight knit family. We never really shared films together. Like
Mhm.
he did with my parents, but not me. I was not into it.
Right. I'm sure it's special for him to be able, like you said, like it all started with him showing you that movie and then
Hmm.
seeing your reaction. Now he gets to sort of see that every day through this.
Hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
Once you got started, were there any learning curves, at first to, just get comfortable on camera and get, sort of like, situated with like the format?
For sure. For sure. I mean, they tell you growing up to shut up during a movie, and you're like asking questions. Some people are like, shh, just watch. And then here they tell you to speak all of your thoughts. And it did. it was definitely a learning curve. My first 20 videos, I had no idea what I was doing. I was quiet, and a lot of times I paused the movie a lot, which caused huge issues for the editing part. I also could not have watch alongs because I was pausing. So it was definitely a learning curve, but once I got the hang of it, I feel like it becomes natural. I never stopped learning anyway. After most of my videos, my brother will reach out and say like, "Hey, next time you're going to do something like this, make sure that you say this," or like he coaches me. He's a great coach because he is a consumer of reactions. So
Mhm.
he's got the knowledge. I just react.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, especially at first. I always equate it to like it's like an improv, like
Mhm.
lesson interacting with the material. It's also like like almost like a stand-up bit because you have to like be
Mhm.
sort of on and like performative in some sense just to like
And be
articulate yourself.
quick
Yeah,
for
exactly. Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a balance to it.
Mhm.
And you started with the birdcage. That was your first reaction that you
Yeah.
did for the channel. Was there any specific reason behind that pick being the first one that you came out with?
No, I have no idea why my brother told me to watch Birdcage. He's like, just start with this movie. I never heard of it before.
Mhm.
I don't even know that it was something, because sometimes we try to do things relative to the time. So if I just did Superman, the first one, the 1978 Superman, because right now there's this Superman kind of trend going on. But
Right.
at that point, I don't know. I think he just told me to watch that. No, absolutely no reason behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, the strategy will have to stay with him as far as
Yeah,
why that was there.
sure.
Um, and after that, you also watched Iron Man, and that gave you the base for the MCU films, moving
Hmm.
forward, and that being sort of like, like a consistent, core of the channel to build around,
Yeah.
while you dabbled in other genres, with other movies. Do you recall that initial watch strategy? I guess, again, that may be
Yes.
Jorge's, machinations of like, what was the sort of like the ideas behind, which films you would try to dive into in the early first year?
Yeah, that's a great question because after I watched Birdcage, ugh, I had watched a couple of movies before thinking, hey, let's do Marvel. And Jorge's like, are you sure there's a lot of movies? And I said, I've never watched any of them. So it's a great opportunity. And he did warn me that it's a double-edged sword. There's a lot of a lot of movies. It's a big world, a big universe to step into, but it will help launch your channel because it has such a big audience. So we kind of shook hands and said, okay, let's do it, and stepped right in.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and you've done pretty well with it so far. Even just like in the sort of first early phase of the films, you were picking up on a lot of things in the MCU. You're remembering names and terms
Yeah.
and things. So yeah, I think you really latched onto it pretty well.
Thank you. It was not easy.
Yeah.
It's characters that people have known for years, and I
Mhm.
was just meeting them. So I really had to make mental note of what I was understanding. And like, oh, this person is a villain. Oh, this person looks like they're going to do something in the future. Maybe mention it if they do something in the future. So it was at the beginning very active, a act of reacting.
Yeah, just trying to log away those little
Yeah,
information. Yeah.
yeah.
And you also, one of the other elements I think that's really important for any reaction channel is like the horror genre. That's like, some channels build their entire platform off of horror reactions. You dabbled in that a little bit with your first reaction to Hereditary, which is like a staple of a lot of videos.
Yes.
Um, that in itself is, such a trial and endeavor that people go through. By your own admission, you weren't super into horror films, at that
Mhm.
point. So it was a bit of a test for you. I guess what
Yeah.
was that like overcoming that fear to watch it, and how was the experience like? You think how watching it as a reaction as opposed to if you had watched it, on your own by yourself?
Yeah. I don't love horror films, but I will watch them if they're good, and I think Hereditary was really good. It was a good film, and I went into it knowing that it was a good film. So I was ready to enjoy it regardless. I think the difference between watching it alone in my house and watching it for reaction is that I wouldn't watch it alone in my house. Like I don't think I'd enjoy sitting and being scared. I
Right.
I'm sure you've seen in my channel. I love comedy. I love laughing. I love mafia stuff and organized crime. And I don't think this one is something I'd actively choose to watch.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm down to continue trying and dabbling.
There's plenty out there to try
Yeah.
once in a while. It
Yeah.
also helps that you're sitting in, a room with like, your lights and everything. So it's not
Sure,
as
sure.
immersive
Yeah.
and scary. And yeah, one thing that really stood out to me, over the time you've had with the channel, is how reflective you've been about the journey. You've had points where you updated the channel and the
Yeah.
audience with like how you're feeling and what you've learned, and what things how are going for you so far.
Mhm.
How do those updates or those check-ins sort of help you in the process of getting more comfortable with the channel, being able to be transparent and speak your thoughts?
Yeah. I feel like there was a lot of expectation that I put on myself for what the channel should look like and what kind of audience we should have, or the amount of subscribers that I should have by a certain point. And I remember either, falling short of it or not being very comfortable with the look or the feel or how I'm doing certain things. So I felt the need to really check in with the audience and say, okay, I've decided to do this. I'm now moving things into Patreon, and I would communicate a lot of that earlier. I think it helped me kind of stay grounded with who I am and what I do and the purpose and the goal of this channel. But I also have let go of that a little bit lately. And I remember, like, I think to myself, remember, you're doing this for fun and you really don't have to, nobody's putting expectations on me. So why am I putting those expectations on myself?
Right.
And it has really, truly helped me enjoy it much more than I did at the beginning.
Yeah. I think it's helpful to be able to articulate those feelings to yourself and then to the audience,
Mhm.
because I think the audience, helps the audience connect with you and understand that you're still a person, and like these
Mhm.
things can affect you on certain levels. One of the things that you commented on a couple times was your feelings around your doubt reaction.
Mhm.
When that came out, it was a low performing video, and you had spoken
Mhm.
about how that was upsetting at the time, but you were able to work your way through it. I think it's really, sort of brave to be able to articulate yourself on those things,
Sure.
because it's something that does affect every channel. Truly,
Yeah.
everyone has videos that you put out and it doesn't do well, and you're like, it feels like a personal failing on some level, even though
Mhm.
it's not at all. But those moments can sting. I think, especially for a channel early on when it's your first, still like
Yeah.
early go at it. To reflect a little more, could you tell us, what were your initial feelings when that video came out, and how did you grapple with it, or as time went on?
Yeah, we think about it. We have it very top of mind, and it's actually kind of a unit of measurement between my brother and I. Whenever we post a video, and if it's not doing well, we're like, "Oh my God, is it a doubt type?" And so now anything above it is a good video, even though that was so low. Like, it is still not performing well. It's
Mhm.
still very low in views, not a lot of engagement, and it's fine. It's totally fine now. In that moment, we saw it as a miss, as a huge miss. We're like, are we not targeting the right audience? We weren't. I watched Doubt when I first started launching MCU. So, like, pick your audience at the time.
Mhm.
I was also very new, so I didn't articulate a lot of the thoughts that I had. It really gave me a lot of a material and content to reflect on and make changes,
Mhm.
whether they're expectations or actual changes that I have to apply to the videos.
Right. Yeah. And that's a great point too. Yeah. Like, it's maybe one of those videos where, had you watched it further down the line, it might have been something that you had like a more, engaged experience with, because you're now
Exactly.
more comfortable with the format and you can articulate yourself
Hmm.
a little more. So yeah, it's definitely one of those things where like you might save something for down the line if you're getting started. This is a more experienced film to sort of dive
Hmm.
into.
That's right.
And yeah, it really sucks when the video like that, you feel has a lot of quality in it, doesn't hit the right way. Have you taken any lessons from that experience and applied it to, how you carry yourself into like, for future reactions?
Yeah, and I'll tell you one of the biggest lessons I've learned from doubt is that, as you have you watched the movie?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay, as you know, it's controversial, not in specifically, I mean, it's a sensitive topic. There's a lot of did he not? There's a lot of thoughts that I could have mentioned and articulated that I didn't because at the beginning of my journey, I wanted to stay a little more neutral in my strong opinions. I wanted
Mhm.
to not have very strong opinions because I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. But I wish if I had at that moment been so free like I am now with my opinions, I would have definitely been more engaging. So that is one of the lessons that I've carried on through and think, hey, listen, if you are sitting here in front of people and people are watching you, say what you think. Who cares if someone doesn't like it? Just say what you think. That's why people are watching.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's an evolution of, that, age old testament of just being yourself and,
Mm-hmm.
being able to, stay true to, how you feel, and as opposed to like trying to appease everyone, because then you appease
Exactly.
no one.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that carries over into, what you have brought to the overall rotation of your work.
Mm-hmm.
After that, you've been watching, a variety of films. You've been watching the MCU and The Sopranos as well. So like a pretty,
Mm-hmm.
well-rounded,
That's right.
workload. So how's that been, I guess, over the last couple of years, having that balance of the individual films, the MCU films, which feels like a big TV show, and, an actual TV show like The Sopranos, and just like,
Mm-hmm.
bouncing between those different types of formats.
It's funny because someone asked me that question today. They asked me like, "What is your process
Mhm.
to select a movie, and how do you organize them?" And it all goes based on what we're doing at the time. So because I'm doing MCU, I know that I have to put in an MCU at some point this month. Because we're doing Sopranos, I know that I have to put in Sopranos. So there's definitely, that's why there's variety. It's because I've started these franchises that I have to finish. So I
Mhm.
started Indiana Jones, and I'm 2 or 3 movies in and I have to continue watching, but I have other things on queue. So it's definitely load balancing. It's definitely a negotiating with my brother. He's like, you have to watch Indiana Jones because you haven't watched it in the last month. And I'm like, okay, but I also have to watch, the next episode, 2 episodes of The Sopranos. So I gotta,
Yeah.
we negotiate a lot. There's a lot of back and forth, but I'll be honest, we ultimately do what he says.
Yeah, I mean, it's helpful to have someone being able to guide you like that, specifically with like a watch order of things. I think like with the MCU, like
Yeah.
there's like so you don't have to like sort of guess about what's next and like try to check on yourself and
Yeah.
potentially spoil yourself. The MCU stuff specifically, I think, has been I think for anyone who watching it now is such a unique experience because
Mhm.
you're watching it obviously at a much faster rate than we were when we were watching it when
Right.
it came out for the movies and the films. I guess how has that experience been like for you, being able to watch the films without any foreknowledge of what's coming and any spoilers,
Mhm.
just like watching it blind, project to project.
Yeah. So at the beginning, it was easier for me to watch them back to back because I didn't have such a big subscriber base. So a lot of people were not spoiling. And then after 5 or 6 movies, people started spoiling some things, and not in a way to spoil it, but to say, like, ooh, you're going to hate that character in the next movie, or little
Right.
comments I don't know why they, to add color to things. And
Yeah.
I needed Jorge at that point to go in and sort through and mute or delete some spoiler comments so that I could continue watching in peace.
Mhm.
Now, it's been awesome to watch it at a faster pace. But it also, sometimes people will like want to talk about or say comments or leave comments, but I've already watched the next movie. So I can't be like, hey, I already watched it and I don't think this. I have to just be like, okay, I can't comment here because I
Right.
already watched it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely know those comments. People who, they don't mean ill, like they
Right.
just feel like they're contributing, with this like sort of
Right.
anticipation. I think it becomes, more problematic with like TV shows. Maybe after The
Yeah.
Sopranos, maybe it might go along with that. Is that people think like, oh, season 5, episode 1 is so crazy, like you want to believe it,
Yeah.
and that sort of sets expectations for you. So like it might
Exactly.
affect the reaction, because you think like, okay, I feel like I have to like really perform for this because people are really hyped about it.
Yes, that's exactly right. And you know what happened? It happened to me with the third and final Lord of the Rings
Hmm.
movie. Everyone in the other two movies commented how I was going to cry and I was going to be so sad and happy and feel all these feels. Make sure you have tissues with you. And then the movie came around and I had such a big expectation that I liked it, but it didn't fill the cup because everyone else made the cup so big. So I
Right.
just, it was a little, I can't perform. I can't like fake it. But
Hmm.
I felt at that moment that if I didn't give people the emotion that they wanted, that I was going to fail at it, but I
Right.
couldn't. I didn't cry.
Yeah, and everyone, again, it's all about being genuine to yourself and having a genuine
Exactly.
reaction. And like I think there's, even I've seen obviously a lot of Lord of the Rings reactions, and there's like even the sort of like most minute reactions can like tell a lot about what someone's feeling in a moment. And sometimes people want the really big ones, and so having that
Yeah.
expectation can like really sort of sour, I think, some of the experience, because you feel like, oh, maybe this isn't right, maybe this isn't what they're
Yeah.
looking for. But truthfully, you should always be, looking for what you're looking for in the
Yeah.
experience, and be able to hold yourself to a standard that you want yourself to feel. But yeah, getting into, again, the TV side of things, The Sopranos has been something that you've been, on as well for the last, or almost the entire lifespan of the channel.
Yeah. Since the beginning.
Yeah, you're almost done now. And so that can be like a really cathartic, but also like, daunting experience. People like, when it's defined so much of the channel for so long,
Yeah.
it is hard to say goodbye to it. Do you have any sort of plans, to wrap that up, or like once you're done with that, to move into like another show?
Yeah. So I don't know if we're going to do another show for the channel. I think we're going to keep the shows on the Patreon side. And
Mhm.
it's one of the reasons is because there's so many episodes of the shows that I'm watching. It's hard to invest so much in the editing if the return is not good enough. And it's not. Like I actually lose money when I watch The Sopranos for the channel because we pay for the editing and it doesn't perform well enough because the audience, I guess, is smaller. But I do it for the love of the show. The show is so good and I love it so much. I wouldn't want to skip it for the channel. So I
Right.
think we're not gonna do another show. I'm currently doing Breaking Bad for the chat for the Patreon. I've done The Last of Us and Band of Brothers, but we're gonna keep it on that side so there's no editing. For the finale or for to close out The Sopranos, I'm definitely sad about it. And I think my brother and I, because he is such a fan of the show and he's the one who suggested that I watch it, we're going to do an outro together. Like both of us are going to discuss the show and the
Yeah,
last episode and everything at the end of the show together.
that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be a really great
It'll be
one.
the first time he'll show his face in my channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really important. Yeah. And I just spoke with another channel, Puckapillar, who just finished Breaking Bad on his channel, and he had
Okay.
the same experience. He does a lot of
Yeah.
movie reactions, and so he's like, the Breaking Bad episodes don't perform very well, but it's too good of a show to like give
Yeah.
up to stop us in the middle. So he's gonna finish it through, and he finished it, thankfully. Yeah, it's always a balance of the investment of what you can do with the editing and what works on the channel. The movies obviously take a big piece of the pie for I
Sure.
think the algorithm what feeds out to you.
Yeah. And the time investment too. It's 64 episodes or some even more. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many episodes of The Sopranos there are there,
Yeah,
but a
yeah,
lot.
a lot. Yeah, and all pretty long episodes too. So
Yeah.
yeah. And around that, you've also just been dabbling in various genres of film.
Mhm.
I think you seem to have gravitated towards, comedies, actions, sort of dramas, occasionally a horror sprinkled in there once in a while.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of genre that you feel you gravitate towards more, that you feel like you're really excited to visit that when you get a chance?
Yes. I love organized crime in
Mhm.
movies, not organized crime in real life.
Right. Yeah.
I I love the whole like heists or planning something to do something bad or something good or an escape, something that is action and there's mines in it. Ocean's 11 I watched was really awesome. Goodfellas, which is one of my favorite films that I've ever watched for the channel. That genre gets me really excited. It keeps me engaged. I don't think it's too hard to follow now that I know more of the world of organized crime due to the movies that I've watched. So it's whenever I see one on my list, I'm like, done. I want to watch it first in the week.
Yeah, I mean, getting to understand, like you said, more about the material as it goes on. It's fun to see those threads kind of come through. You're like, oh,
yeah,
the same sort of like heist, ideas or elements that they're doing here was, previously used in Ocean's 11. You might even see some like sort of like, if it's based on a true story, see some like character or like, like a time frame cross over, be like, oh, the same thing that was happening at this point. Yeah. So it's always fun to sort of like see the connectivity there. And has there been a genre that has surprised you that you enjoyed, that you maybe thought maybe this wouldn't be as much for me, but you went to it and you had like a pretty good experience with it?
I don't know if it's a genre per se, but war movies, movies that happen in war, Saving Private Ryan, or even the show Band of Brothers. I have a really hard time accepting war or like enjoying watching it. I like struggle through it. I really do. At the beginning, and I had such a hard time with Saving Private Ryan. The whole time I was sad and uncomfortable, but the movie was so good. And I said, wow, if I can really enjoy this as a drama and not as like a movie where they're blowing up people, let's. And I've really enjoyed that.
All right.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend's the exact same way. Yeah, my girlfriend's the exact same way. She does not like war films because it's too stressful for her. Like it stresses her out to the fighting and the action of it is really overwhelming.
And it's true story. I mean, these people really did die. Like we're not watching a fake story. Maybe the story is fake, but everything else happened. So knowing that there was so much suffering in real life, it's really hard for me to enjoy.
Yeah. And I think it ties into, like just the emotions, that you have to sort of, grapple with on the camera. I think that's something that a lot of reactors have, like it's something you have to learn over time. Particularly, some films, make you really cry, and some films make you feel really overwhelmed. And I guess, how have you been able to, tap into your emotions, comfortably on camera, being able to share those and not feel like, because the inclination is to be like, oh, like I should turn away or something if I'm crying. How has that relationship evolved over the time with the channel for you?
It was a one moment that I kind of opened the faucet or like flipped a switch, and it was at the beginning. My brother told me like, let go, like really feel the feeling, feel the emotion. And I wouldn't cry even when I was watching movies at home and I felt a little like it's time to cry. I would like hide it,
right
here, have little emotions. And my brother was just telling me like, please open up, like let it happen. And I remember exactly when it happened. I was watching Big Fish, and it was at the end when he's walking into the lake, and I just remember feeling it here in my throat, like it was tightening up. And at one moment I didn't even actively think it, I just felt it. I just like the sound that came out of me was like, and I just like let it out, and it felt so good, and I couldn't stop crying. And after the movie, I kept thinking about it and I kept crying about it. And I just said, wow, this is really what it feels to tap into or to allow that emotion to come out. And I loved it. And I have never looked back. Whatever I'm feeling, I feel it wholeheartedly in front of the camera.
Yeah, and it's really great. I mean, I love Big Fish, as one of my favorite films in general. And that's really early on in the channel's lifespan. So I think that's a good sort of trial by fire to get out of the way really early on.
That's right.
Yeah. And reflecting on the journey so far, you mentioned how this has really just opened your eyes to your own relationship with film, and
Mhm.
just how it's impacted you, like with the big fish thing, and even more so, just like the general understanding of film. I guess, how has your appreciation of your own film literacy evolved over the last couple of years? So, with the channel.
I art and film is art. There's subjective ways to look at it, but there's also very objective ways to look at it. Some shots are shot beautifully. Some films have a specific color to it that are gorgeous. Some dialogue just goes above and beyond. And I used to be able to connect with the subjective part of it. Oh, it was a good movie. It was cool. I loved the story. And not so much of the objective part because I didn't know it. I had no knowledge of how the camera movement can add to the feeling of the shot, or none of those things that now that I can recognize and I can appreciate, I ever had present in my life before. I didn't know it.
Right.
So not only has it brought this other side of film, this other side of appreciating film, but also it has allowed me to participate in so many other conversations with people
Mhm.
that talk about film. And before I had no way to contribute. And now I feel like I'm equipped a little, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Again, Cassie from Popcorn in Bed mentioned that she is able to go out into the world and, like, apply her experience with film now to things that she sees. Just like
Yeah.
she's able to see, like, the Alamo, and see, like, what films were based around that, and, like, like, she ran to a person at the barbershop and, like, talked to her about lots of films that she's seen now, and so those type of things, it does open up, like, a world to you to be able to
Yes.
share with people. And I guess now, again, going back to what we had mentioned before, how has your relationship with your brother now evolved over time, now that you've been able to experience a lot of these films?
Um, First of all, we are much more understanding of each other. Before he was just like my older brother, and
Mhm.
now I have so much appreciation for what he does and how he keeps the channel going and how organized he is. I thought he was not before. I was just like, I felt like he was all over the place, kind of like the way you feel about an older brother.
Right.
And now every beginning of the month, he sends me a list of the day and the movie I'm going to watch. He asks me, when are you busy that you can't watch? So I'll let him know. He'll build a schedule for me. He lets me know about sponsorship opportunities and what I'm going to receive and when I'm going to have to do an ad. He writes the scripts for the ads. He connects with other people and podcasts for me to participate. So all of that work he does has really made me appreciate him more. Not
Mm.
that I didn't love him before, but I see him working. And when you see someone do something with so much passion, you kind of love him more for it. And
Right.
that's where I stand now. Do I think he's annoying? Yes. Do I sometimes not want to watch films that he's like, too bad you're going to watch him? Yes. Also, he is intense. Like, he'll be like, remember today you have to do this. Remember you have to do this. Remember you have to do this. So it's annoying to me, but without him, I would be all over the place.
All
So
right.
I really, really appreciate what he does.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great balance, I think, to have
Mhm.
between the two of you. The behind the scenes aspect and the front facing aspect. Do you have any plans or aspirations for the channel moving forward? Now that you're about to wrap up Sopranos, you're about to wrap up the MCU, probably within the next, like, probably maybe within this year, and
Mhm.
just how you want to sort of balance that out.
Not anymore. I used to have plans for the channel. I wanted to be a certain number of subscribers by certain day. But 2 years into the channel, I wanted to have so many and da da da. And I no longer have those expectations. I just want to do it for fun and
Mhm.
because I love it and because it's a great thing to do with my brother. And before this, I had only kept my projects for maximum of a month. If I started writing, I'd do it for a month. If I started painting, I'd do it for a month. And this is the longest standing hobby I've had. And it is so good because I don't put any guardrails or expectations around it. So I don't have plans for the channel outside of just continuing to do it for now.
That's great. Yeah, I think that's a great perspective to have about it. Just take it day by day, just feel out what works for you best. Over the time, I guess, with the channel, what do you feel has been the most consistent obstacle that you faced with it?
That's a great question. I'll tell you that at the beginning, we had a lot of technical issues. And I think when you first start a channel, you have to go through that. Anytime I put these on, it would disconnect my thing. So a lot of my videos have awkward sounds. So that was maybe the first year of my channel was me going through all of those technical hurdles to facilitate the editing. And I think now my I wouldn't call it an obstacle, but when I see films in my list that I'm not interested in watching, and I just don't want to watch it, but it's in my list, and it won a poll on Patreon, or it was requested on Reactor, or I just have to do it. And I think just making myself sit down and watch it and getting the strength from in me out, that would be my obstacle.
Yeah. It's one of those things you get to just dive into it. It's like jumping into a pool of cold water, something like that. Just got to go in.
Which I don't do. If there's cold water, I'm not gonna go in. So, exactly. So like but I still have to do it. The other day, I did not want to hit play on a movie, and I've been sitting around for it for days, and I sat down and I'm like, okay, Jorge, I'm gonna watch it, and he's like, okay, good luck, and I'm like, I actually don't want to do it, and he's like, just do it. I'm like, sympathize with me. Tell me to take the day off.
Yeah. It's important to have those days off. Maybe break once in a while. But yeah, it's good to persevere. How do you feel you've personally grown over your time with the channel?
I have become more attentive. Like, I struggle with attention issues, and at the beginning of the whole journey, I really put in my head, I really actively thought, pay attention. Like I mentioned earlier, like I had to make mental notes of what I was watching and don't get distracted. Don't get distracted by this outfit when you're watching the whole scene. And it really, really is a muscle that you can strengthen. At the beginning, it was hard to do. Now I can just follow the whole movie, which is something that I've never been able to do in the past. And it has also helped me in my real life, like in my daytime job and meetings. I have to pay attention. And when people are talking, I'm not thinking, how am I going to respond? I'm actually listening. So it has 100% improved my attention and how I engage with either what I'm watching or who I'm talking to. And I'm just so happy about that outcome.
Right. Yeah. It's a good muscle to work out through this work, because you had to sort of fight the urge that people have, nowadays to be on your phone and to
exactly
drift away, whatever, during a movie. You had to be fully locked in. So yeah, it can definitely help out with the attention span stuff.
Yeah.
And beyond any monetary or financial value, what do you feel is the most rewarding aspect of the channel for you?
I love a good comment on a video. I love someone to tell me, wow, this was so fun, or thank you so much for spending time watching this movie, and your commentary, or when people tell me that I'm funny, like that positive reinforcement. I'm all about words of affirmation. Tell me I'm great, and I love it. And when I see that my videos bring joy or make someone laugh, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. If I could just only look at the happy comments, I would be in there the whole time.
Yeah. So we've got to parse out the good with the bad, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the goods are the ones that you should definitely focus on and make sure that's what keeps you going.
This is Joey, by the way.
Oh, hello. He's going big yawn. I love when the dogs just post up in the back like that.
Yeah. He watches. He sits there and watches with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a final questionnaire
Mhm.
that we give to everyone. Just 10 questions online for you.
Okay.
First one is, what is your favorite TV show of all time?
I don't have one. I don't have a favorite TV show of all time, but I'll tell you one that I watched recently that I really, really loved.
Mhm.
I watched a 4-part series called Adolescence. I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
if you watched it.
Yes, I
It
did. It's
was
great.
beautifully filmed. The dialogue was awesome. The story was great. The ending, I loved. I don't want to spoil anything, but I loved how ambiguous kind of the ending was, and I just think it was great, great, great TV.
Yeah. It's yeah, I watched it when that came out, and it's really fantastic.
Mhm.
So topical too.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call it my favorite of all time. I don't think I have a favorite show
Yeah.
of all time, but it's the most recent one that I was like, watch. Everyone has to watch.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Maybe for this one, maybe a little easier. What is your favorite film of all time?
Ooh, eh, eh, this is a little bit of a pickle. I'm in between two.
Hmm.
So my favorite movie in real life is Fight Club because it was a I read the novel, I loved it. I watched the movie, I loved it, and I have watched it tens of times ever since.
Hmm.
But my favorite movie for the channel that I've watched is Goodfellas. And
Hmm.
that goes just because I watched it on the channel doesn't mean it's only my favorite in the channel. I'll add that to my top 5 that I've watched. And that's why I said it's a little bit of a pickle because they're both up there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, both fantastic picks. Yeah.
Thank you.
um, what stresses you out?
Traveling.
Hmm.
I love traveling. I love being in places, seeing the culture, experiencing these beautiful things, but just knowing that I have to get there in a plane and having to sit in a confined spot for too many hours, just like the thought of traveling and going to the airport, I don't want any of it. If I could just snap my fingers and be at my destination, I would
Yeah.
pay top dollar
Yeah. Just to teleport there. Yeah.
just to teleport.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, I agree. Traveling, the aspect of traveling is very stressful, but the
It's
act of
stressful.
being there is really great.
Sure. Yes, it is.
On the opposite end of that, what helps you relax?
I love being around a body of water. So, the beach, a pool, a river, a lake, and I don't have to be in it. I can be on it or near it. Just like I'm a beach gal. Just lay my ass on a beach and just enjoy my time.
Right,
And
that's
that
great. Yeah,
helps me relax.
absolutely. What is a hobby or passion you have outside of TV and film?
Reading. I
Mhm.
love reading. Preferably near a body of water
Yeah,
on a beach. No,
yeah,
I love reading. I love novels. I if I didn't have a reaction channel to movies, I would do like a reading channel. I don't know how that would even work, but
yeah,
I love it.
yeah. Book talk. Lots
Book
of
talk.
TikTok channels people have for books.
See, I haven't seen I'm not a consumer. I just like watch what I have to, but I will look into it because it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's the whole culture on there. Yeah. What fictional character do you think you relate to or just care deeply about?
I don't relate to this character, but I care deeply about him
Mhm.
regardless of who he is as a person. And it's Tony Soprano.
All
He's
right.
been with me for 2 years. I he's very humanized to me. Like I in 2 years have gotten to know what makes him so human and why sorry his ego is so broken and all of that makes humanizes him so much for me that
Mhm.
I wish I could go up to him and give him a hug and just be on his good side.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The last part very specifically. Yeah. What is your guilty pleasure show or film?
Reality TV.
Hmm.
Anytime I can, I'll put some reality TV on. I love Love is Blind. I love The Amazing Race. I love Love Island. Any reality TV. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Reality TV is a good palate cleanser for a lot of reactors.
yeah.
Good way to just like separate yourself from narratives and plots and so on.
Exactly.
What show or film give you your favorite reaction experience with the channel?
We talked about it. Big Fish. It's the
Mhm.
moment I let it out. Is the moment I flip the switch. And now I can't flip it back off, even for real life stuff. Like,
Right.
don't bring me to a wedding because I will cry loudly. Don't bring me to an emotional show because I will make people uncomfortable. And I can't turn it off in public.
Yeah.
Big Fish did that.
Yeah, it's opened yourself up in a way
It
that
did.
you can't put it back in the cage. Yeah.
Yeah, but it makes for my favorite experience because it allowed me to do that in front of everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. What show or film do you wish you could erase from your memory and react to again for the first time on camera?
Fight Club
Mhm.
and Interstellar.
Oh, Interstellar. Yeah, that'd be a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's two great picks. Interstellar would be a really great one. I saw that when it came out in theaters at the TCL Chinese Theater when it came out, and just that's one of my favorite experiences. Just seeing that in the theater with a full crowd on the full IMAX screen.
Yeah. I also saw it when it came out. It was my first date with my wife when it came out. So like 11 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to your past self if you can go back in time when you first started the channel?
I would tell me to not worry. And we talked about this earlier. And is at the beginning, I try to be more neutral with my opinions and try to stay out of pissing people off. And I wish I never did that. I wish I really was always true to my opinion and vocalized it because it's what have made people engage with me. If you see my first 10 or 20 videos, I was so robotic. I was like, ooh, that character development is really showing us the blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, whoa, that guy went from A to Z really quick. Now I'm so much free from these tethers of what will people think that I wish I did that from the beginning. But it's a learning curve. There's like no way that I can do that from the beginning. Everyone who is good at something now at one point was really bad at it. So I had to go through it so that today I am good at it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's really fantastic advice. Yeah, it's something that you can strive for, but you have to actually live to learn it,
That's right.
Cristy, thank you so much for coming on today. It's all fantastic advice that you've really given us, and I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. This is so fun. I think that the single person reactor world is kind of lonely because I feel that I'm talking like just outward to people and I don't get anything back. That whenever I have the chance to collaborate, whether it's in a podcast or a shared reaction or anytime I have a chance to connect with people, I'm just so excited. So this is really awesome. And I appreciate you inviting me.
Of course. Yeah. I'm really happy to have you here. I'm really happy to put people together, as you said. That's the goal here.
Awesome.
Where can we find you on YouTube, social media, anywhere otherwise?
Yeah, you can find me at Cristy Reacts on YouTube and Cristy Reacts on Instagram, although I'm not there enough. I have to go and do some Instagramming.
Right.
And I have a Cristy Reacts Patreon and a Cristy Reacts Reactor page. So if anyone wants to go check it out, please feel free to do so.
Of course, we'll have links to that below. You can find me at Nerdchronic across social media. You can find us at the Reactorverse across social media as well. You'll find links to our Patreon and Discord down below. And we'll catch everyone on the next episode.